No way he just said this. Quinnen Williams just called out the New York Jets and GM Darren Mougey as the Jets' decision to get rid of Aaron Rodgers has not been taken kindly by a bunch of different players who have voiced their praise of Aaron Rodgers, which also, with Rodgers' decision, somewhat contradicts what Aaron Glenn was saying in the press conference, and we're going to break all of this down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris here. And guys, real quick, this is not me giving a scathing indictment of the New York Jets regime. This is what the players have said. I'm not calling out the Jets front office at all. And guys, if you are enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe. If you're part of that 80% of viewers who are not subscribed, and you want daily New York Jets news, rumor reports, updates on potential trades, and the offseason that's about to kick off now that the NFL season is over, this is when you guys want to subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a bunch of crazy stuff going down, and you guys don't want to miss out. But let's jump into the video, guys, because none other than Quinnen Williams, the big man who's been on the Jets for a long time now and has been one of the best players on the Jets consistently after picking him third overall. He's not thrilled with the New York Jets' decision to get rid of Aaron Rodgers. He is not too pleased about that whatsoever, as Quinnen Williams spoke out on the Jets' decision to move forwards without Aaron Rodgers, and as they plan to just release him from the team. And Williams said, another rebuild year for me, I guess, giving a thumbs down as well. Quinnen is unhappy, and you know what? He's rightfully unhappy. The New York Jets have been, 38 and 62 with Quinnen Williams. I mean, the man, he's done everything he can for the Jets. He's been a great guy to have on the defensive line, but it's just this team has not been able to get things under control at all, as we all know, and now the new regime, changes are coming. And one of these changes is that Aaron Rodgers will not be back with the New York Jets. As we talked about yesterday, Darren, Mougey, and the New York Jets front office made the decision after Rodgers flew to New York to discuss it with them that they would likely be moving in a different direction. Now, it is important to note that the fact is it's not some conversation that's some done deal and that the Jets will never talk to Rodgers again or something. Aaron Glenn has been in consistent contact with Aaron Rodgers after the meeting that they had. So there is a world where Aaron Rodgers is still behind center for the New York Jets next season. It's not impossible. There is a world that we see Aaron Rodgers in a Jets uniform as a starting quarterback next year. That's a world that I want to live in. It's a world that most of the players want to live in. And there is something to think about here. If the Jets really do want to get rid of Aaron Rodgers, if they've really decided to move in another direction, it kind of contradicts what Aaron Glenn said when he said, I want players who want to be on the Jets. Aaron Rodgers wants to be on the Jets. For him, he said, it was always the Jets for me. It was the Jets or nothing when he left the Packers. He wanted to come here. He wanted to play for the Jets, and he still does. The man's willing to take another pay cut. So if Glenn is serious about this, it makes you wonder why the Jets want to move in another direction. Is it the fear of playing well for one season and being just sort of mid and maybe making the playoffs or maybe not making the playoffs and not having a good draft pick, and then if Rodgers retires after next season and you have to go find someone else in free agency, won't be as good, and you'll miss out on that top echelon of quarterbacks like Nico Iamaleava and Arch Manning. So maybe it's that, and that honestly, that is a fair reasoning to have, that you don't want to middle out for a season and then kind of be stuck in the mud a little bit. It makes sense, especially because if you miss the playoffs with Rodgers again next year, and then also you don't have a good draft pick, and then you consider not be as good because you don't have an answer at quarterback, you're going to start running out of time before Woody Johnson grinds the axe to either step in and make weird decisions or just fire you entirely. So it is important to note that the Jets might just be thinking this is the best long-term move, is to not have a guy in his 40s be the quarterback. But it feels like the players are disagreeing, and there's more players than just quarterback, and a lot of them are younger, and you don't want to upset the younger guys. I mean, we've seen this time and time again, and Jets players, they love Aaron Rodgers. It's evidently clear. I mean, Jermaine Johnson said that if a teammate he cares about, they have a discrepancy, he'll come up to him and be like, hey, what's wrong, man? We feeling good? And on top of that, Johnson discussed that he's still planning on paying Aaron Rodgers for everything he did, because it's not just going to be the number that is the $30,000 that Aaron Rodgers gave Jermaine Johnson, but he said that he got to the plane and I go, hey, you never sent me anything, but he was like, hey, don't worry about it. I got it. You take care of everything for everybody in your life. Now it's your time to work on receiving help. Let me do this for you. And that's a thing most people don't know about him. Aaron is such a great guy. He only is concerned about people in his corner and what they have to say about him. Now, obviously, this is in relation to when Aaron Rodgers gave Jermaine Johnson his private jet so Johnson could return home and travel after dealing with the Achilles injury so he could travel comfortably, essentially. And remember, Jermaine Johnson's a massive guy. Going down with a torn Achilles is a terrible thing for a young player in the NFL. Absolute nightmare of a situation for him, and Aaron Rodgers went out of his way to give him $30,000 worth of help. I mean, it was an awesome gesture by Rodgers, and there's a reason why these players love him. All of them love. I mean, some people wonder if Garrett Wilson likes him because Rodgers and Wilson get into arguments, but you have to imagine Garrett Wilson would rather Aaron Rodgers behind center. Wilson had his best year in the NFL. Like, yeah, part of it's just he's getting better every season, and he's great. And Garrett Wilson is the franchise face of the New York Jets. He's the most important player on this roster right now. The Jets cannot lose him, and I would have imagined that keeping Rodgers and Davante Adams in Jets uniforms was the best way to keep Garrett Wilson. So that's kind of my biggest fear with all of this is how this affects Garrett Wilson, because Darren Mougey made the decision. Now, is it a done deal? No. There is still a world that the Jets bring back Aaron Rodgers. It just feels so shockingly unlikely that Rodgers will be on the Jets next year that they're going to look either in the draft or at free agency for a bridge guy, potentially a Jameis Winston, potentially Justin Fields, who was teammates with Garrett Wilson at Ohio State. So there's options such as that. Sam Darnold's not coming back to the Jets. I mean, who else is there? Like, there's no good options out there for the New York Jets in free agency. The one option is Aaron Rodgers. Outside of that, you're not going to have a good quarterback next season unless it's Aaron. So the Jets have put themselves in a bit of an interesting spot here. Now, Joe Namath also mentioned that after watching Aaron Rodgers play in the final game of the season, there's no doubt that he's got at least another year left in him. So if he wants to, Namath said he would love to see him stay with the Jets, and he could definitely help the new GM and coaches before they had these, as well as playing ball. He's still throwing with accuracy and authority. And if you look, who retweeted it? Breece Hall, who wants Aaron Rodgers back. The young guys especially want Aaron Rodgers on this team. We've seen it from Quinnen Williams. We've seen it from Breece Hall. We've seen it from Jermaine Johnson. You have to imagine if the young guys want him, don't upset your young players who are probably getting pretty sick of losing 3 years into their careers. Sauce Gardner loves Aaron Rodgers. They all like him. This is something the Jets have to be very careful with right now. Yes, they could still bring Rodgers back, but it just feels unlikely at this point. Now, maybe they do. Maybe this is a wrong report from Jay Glazer, but it just feels like, yeah, what we're seeing is the Yankees moving on from Aaron Rodgers. However, it's not a done deal yet. We will see what the New York Jets do, and we will keep you guys updated on it. So make sure to be subscribed to Jets Digest for all these updates that are coming our way. Free agency is just beginning, dude. I'm so excited. I love NFL free agency. There's so many signings. There's so many trades. There's a bunch of fun stuff that's going to come down, and it all cultivates with the NFL draft at the end of it. So, guys, make sure to not miss out on any content. Subscribe to Jets Digest. Me and Matt will get back on the duos. It's just our times are not really aligning all the time right now. But we will be back on many duos, especially in the offseason for every signing. Guys, like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Jets.